Good morning and welcome to Main Street TV. I am sitting in for Jen this morning. She's taken a couple of days off for an extended long weekend, and so we hope she's out having fun, and she'll be back in a couple of days. So you're stuck with me today. So hi. We are joined today by Nate from Barn Find
Cycles.
Barn Find Cycles. That's like a whole mouthful.
Yeah. It is.
Barn Find Cycles. And so we're gonna hear from our advertisers for just a second, and then we'll be back with Nate.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
Thank you. We're back. Thanks, Adrian. So we're back here with Nate. And Nate, tell us about Barn Find Cycles. I know you've been motorcycling for a long time. So how did it go from being a motorcyclist, to what you're doing now?
So part of my history is I really don't have a memory that isn't motorcycle related. It's crazy. My mom and dad put me on a dirt bike at age 6, and it progressed into street bikes at 18, okay. And it just kept going. I think my mom was shocked that I wanted to ride street bikes at 18, which dumbfounded me, because it was a natural progression in my mind. So I've been riding my whole life basically.
Wow. So now you're restoring bikes, right?
I restore bikes.
Okay.
I do maintenance.
Okay.
Tires, that stuff. I was originally a body guy and a painter, and so that kind of led into the restoration stuff, into the motorcycles and making them look pretty.
Okay.
Right? Then the mechanical side of it really came from just being a cheapskate and learning how to do that. And my dad said, if you're going to get flat tires, you better know how to fix them.
Oh, 100%.
So
yeah. Oh, 100%. Even when my kids started driving cars,
Yep.
it's that was one of the first things I think my husband taught them, is how to change a tire, how to know when you need to stop driving the car and park it on the side of the road and wait for somebody to come help you, what you can do to fix it on the side of the road,
That's
things
fun.
like that. So, yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that pre-cell phone, like,
oh, I know,
right?
yeah.
Self-reliance? Whoa, that's crazy. I got to walk 3 miles, I
have a long history of running out of gas. It's actually, I've been, since I was like 16 years old, started driving.
they have gauges, right?
Yeah, but back in my day, they're actually, you know what? My very first car, I don't even know if it had a working gauge, but I have ADD, so I would not, of course I can go a little further. Of course I can go a little further. And I would run out of gas, but this was pre-cell phone, so you run out of gas on the side of the road, you have to knock on a stranger's door and say, can I borrow your phone? I need to call my dad to get some gas. Yeah. Now it's like, call a cell phone. I'd like to say that it hasn't happened recently, but at least in the last 5 years I've run out of gas again.
That's pretty good.
And in a car, not in the tractor. I run out of gas on the tractor all the time. But that's a lot easier to walk back to the house and get some gas. But yeah, the whole pre-cell phone days of they're a little spoiled on calling AAA from their cell phones. So.
Knocking on a neighbor's door or knocking on a stranger's door, like, hey, I'm out of gas.
Yeah, you have some, or can I call my dad? Yeah, that was pretty much my life.
Most of my best stories start with a mechanical breakdown or something on a motorcycle. And
okay.
You get to meet good people. Everybody thinks the world's a dangerous place out there, but most of the time, people are good.
Yeah.
And they want to help, especially if they can.
Oh, sure. Sure.
They can find somebody who can help.
Yeah.
So.
No, we're new to Ohio. We moved here from California about a year ago, and I've actually found that in California, people were they'd stop on the side of the road and help you, but here, once I keep getting the tractor stuck in the ditch in front of my house.
I'm seeing a pattern.
Yeah, it's pretty much the thing. You think I wouldn't do it anymore, but But when I get it stuck and I have to call my husband on my cell phone and say, hey, I got stuck in the ditch, can you come pull me out? Usually a neighbor will stop and say, do you need some help? Can I help you get it out? Can I turn on my hazard lights in the street so that, you don't get run over? Yeah, no, in general, people have been very, very nice about my breakdowns on the side of the road, even on the tractor. So
I'm actually a transplant from Washington State myself.
Okay.
Three-something years. We came out here to visit my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, and we rode motorcycles out here for 2 weeks, and I'm like, I love it.
So is it, obviously the terrain and the environment is different between Washington and Ohio.
It's not as different as you would imagine, honestly.
It's a little wetter in Washington. I guess we get a significant amount of rain here too. Actually, no, that's a really good point. No, it actually probably isn't a whole lot.
I looked at it like I'm a numbers guy, so I looked at the stats. So Jackson gets about the same annual rainfall as the Seattle area.
Wow.
Seattle gets it over 10 months,
Oh, yeah,
nonstop.
Like, 3 months.
Wet, drizzle, gray. Jackson, like, oh, you can see the cloud coming. It's going to rain on me. I'm going to go under shelter. And then, it passes.
So, what is the difference between riding on the West Coast versus riding in the Midwest? Then, I mean,
Traffic.
We know that truth.
Traffic.
Truth, 100% truth, because even in our car, we'll be like up in Columbus and my husband starts to get like ragey. And I'm like, it's not even like really traffic. It's not like LA traffic or anything. It's like, but he's like, I'm like, dude. But it's like he's not used to driving it anymore.
Relax.
So
He's never driven in Seattle then, I take it.
Actually, yeah. I think,
Really?
yeah.
And he's nervous about Columbus?
No, he's not nervous, but he's like, just the year of being outside. I mean, we drove in LA.
Oh.
But just the year of being away and just only driving on these roads, he starts to get like all anxious on things. I'm like, this is like nothing. I mean, Columbus traffic is nothing compared to LA traffic. Seriously? But yeah. He's like, I didn't miss this. I don't miss this. I don't miss this.
I'm with him. I don't. The county I moved from, when I was born there was 100,000 people in the county. When I graduated high school, there was 200,000. When we left 3 years ago, there was 300,000. And the county didn't get any bigger, and they didn't build any more roads. So it got pretty thick.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
So we were out riding yesterday. We put 100-something miles on yesterday on motorcycles, and dozen cars maybe.
So where's your favorite place to ride around here? You have a favorite?
If you stay on 3-digit roads, 139, 124, 522, if you stay on those type of roads, it's good. It's good. It's fantastic around here. So.
I know it's beautiful, and when you get out into the country roads, it just gets prettier and prettier. So
Yes.
I can only imagine. One of the things I noticed between California and here is that in California you're required to wear a helmet, and here it kind of shocked us that people are out without helmets, and that was kind of a shocker.
So I'm a big advocate of live your life how you want to.
Yeah.
Don't want to wear a helmet, don't wear a helmet. It's me. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. My dad says you're not riding a motorcycle unless you have a helmet on and you gear up and all that stuff. So that's been pretty much instilled in me. I still ride a helmet. I don't know if you saw me when I rode in. I have a reflective orange vest. I have a bright white helmet. Being visible to other people on the road is a huge thing. It cuts down incidents. So.
I would think so, because I mean, as somebody in a car, I try to be aware of other cars and other people on the road besides cars. So pedestrians, bicyclists, motorcyclists. Obviously, I don't want to get in an accident. I don't want to hurt anybody. But the more visible that they are, especially the smaller that you get,
Yep.
I mean, it's much easier to see a car, like a red car or a white car, than it is to see, you know, a single person on something that's, you know,
Yeah,
like the
especially
sign, so.
a lot of people don't realize it, but a single headlight on a motorcycle is hard to judge distance,
Okay.
right? So if you think about it, a car has two headlights, and if they're really close together, they're far away. And then the distance between the
Oh, wow.
headlights grow as they approach, and a motorcycle is not like that.
Yeah.
So it's hard for drivers to judge distance. So you make yourself obvious.
So as a car driver, what else can I do besides be aware? Like just try to be aware of my surroundings. Are there other things that I can do to
Well,
make
there's
life safer for those on 2 wheels or 3 wheels versus
There-
4 or more?
there's three big ones, and this is not a surprise to anybody out there. Don't drink. That's a pretty obvious one. Don't drink and drive. Don't drink and ride, for that matter. Be aware of your surroundings, and then put the cell phone down.
Yeah.
If you could do those three things as a motorcyclist, as a driver, as a tractor driver, I mean,
Yeah.
life gets much better for everybody.
Because I mean, when you're in a car, I mean, I've been in a pretty brutal accident where you know, airbags went off and stuff like that. But I mean, I have the benefit of that cushion around me, and I'll be honest, my kids were like, "Oh, I want to get a motorcycle." They haven't, but they're like, "I want to get a motorcycle." And as a mom, I'm just like, "Oh my gosh," you know, because you know we want to put that airbag around them and protect them,
Yes.
and hope that everybody else is aware and everything. But
Yeah, as a motorcyclist, you feel vulnerable. It's just part of it. It's also very liberating. When you ride by an onion field, you don't have to look at the sign and read the sign to know what it is.
this
You
is
know,
true.
it smells like onions.
This is true.
When it rains, you get wet. When it's hot, you get hot and sweaty. I mean, part of that is being able to experience the environment around you. That's, you know, if you have that magic little AC button in your car, which
Yeah, this is true.
which is nice, you know, 95-degree heat doesn't mean much to you. So
So how many bikes do you own and ride now?
I am currently down to 6.
Okay. You ride all of them, or are they in states of restoration, or?
I ride 5 of them. I'm building a 1942 Harley. My kooky plan is to ride it cross country on back roads,
Okay.
all of 20 horsepower, whatever it's going to make. So I like traveling that way. It's just the way it is, you know. I've been all over 27 states, Canada, made it to Alaska a couple times
Oh wow! On your bike?
on a motorcycle.
Oh wow!
The wife rides also.
Okay.
We left from Washington State and went to the Arctic Circle and back on motorcycles.
Wow!
That was 7,000 miles and 4 weeks, just over 4 weeks.
Wow!
The next time we went, we drug my brother-in-law along. So it was 4 of us on his motorcycle too. And that was 6 weeks and 12,000 something miles.
Wow! Having driven across country a couple of times to get here to Ohio, one of which was with my husband, I'm not sure I could do 7,000 miles over 4 weeks. I'm not sure either one of us could do that.
Well,
I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will pipe in on this one. So
If
If he
you
has
want
more
to do
than
the
sure.
math, it's not very many miles a day. You know, you have time to stop and smell the roses, whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it, watch the waterfall, do that stuff, see interesting sights, because there's a ton of them out there.
oh yeah.
So
Wow, that's impressive though.
You know-
27 states. That's impressive.
my goal is 50 states on a
Mm-hmm.
motorcycle. And I figured Hawaii would probably be an easy one, because flying there and renting
yeah.
a scooter,
Yeah.
that's pretty easy. Alaska was the hard one. So
But
And-
check. That one's checked off, so.
Yeah, and I would go back in a heartbeat too. I always joke there's 5 highways in Alaska, literally. So pretty hard to get lost up there. If you're on pavement, you're doing okay. So
So what has been your favorite place to travel to?
the next one,
Okay.
and I know
Yeah.
it's a corny thing.
No. Is there a plan? Or is this
Not
really?
yet.
Okay.
You know, there's always this stuff brewing in the back of my head. And the good thing is, the wife's a more seasoned traveler than I am, so I want to get to New Zealand and ride motorcycles. I want to go to Australia and ride motorcycles. I would love, I'd love to go around the world, but we'll see how that works. It's only time and money, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you just have to have an abundance of both.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, if you have a mode of transportation in your head, I'm thinking like if you went to like Europe, I mean, you can go from country to country because they're so close. It's almost like states, and literally you just drive to the next country and then explore that country, and
That's what I
it would give you
noticed.
some more freedom. It would give you more freedom that way, I would think.
Yes, and I haven't been to Europe yet, but Europe has, how would you say, motorcycles are a valid form of transportation over there. They're not just toys. In the U.S., they're very much a luxury item, and well, not for me, but they use them. There's guys when it's
Oh, yeah.
raining and snowing, and
Oh yeah. Well, we were in Asia, and the number of like scooters and motorcycles is very high
Yes.
as well. So they're like zipping in. It's actually kind of scary, but luckily we weren't driving. But yeah, they're just like zipping in between the cars and stuff like that. So
Yep, that would not be me.
yeah, that would scare me. That was just absolutely petrified me.
The wife and I landed in Thailand once, and you watch the scooter action, and you're like, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
I don't even know if the sidewalk is safe.
probably not.
So-
Honestly, probably not. Probably not. At least for the scooters, but yeah, even the larger bikes, I would not shock me to see them on the sidewalks,
Yeah.
or even a small car in some cases.
Yep.
But so what other things can people do to make it safer for motorcyclists? Like, I know that one of the things that we were told when we came here was like to be cognizant of like when you're mowing, to make sure that the grass doesn't end up on the street
Yep.
or on the road.
We appreciate
We're
that.
kind of like we're on a country type of road, so we're not on a big street. We're not on like Main Street or something, and so I try to cut it so that the grass blows back onto the grass as opposed onto the road. Are there other things that would make it safer for motorcyclists, for just a typical person? Things that we can do that
Well,
kind of people
being-
wouldn't think of.
And it's for anybody on the road, not just motorcyclists, being conscious of the center line of the road. Some of the rural roads, I think center lines are optional. So just being aware of how you are in your lane, and I know these roads around here are not crazy wide. And like I said, just pay attention. Just pay attention, be aware of your surroundings. A lot of people, we're thinking of the next thing all the time. We're thinking of, oh my goodness, when I get to work, I have to do this. I got to interview some motorcycle guy.
Yeah.
Then you realize you're still in the car, and you pass 3 miles that you don't remember. And everybody's like that. I'm like that. When I recognize that, I try to change that. So just pay attention. Put the cell phone down and pay attention, and be in the moment, I guess, is a good term. So
Like I said, my kids they're always talking about like the next one's going to be a motorcycle. The next vehicle
Good.
they buy is going to be a motorcycle.
I'm in.
And
Let me know.
And so if somebody wanted to make that transition or add a motorcycle into their rotation of vehicles that are an option for them, like what would be the best way to kind of jump into that if they didn't have that background like you did of 4 decades more or more of riding?
I just sounded old there for a second.
sorry. Oh wait, I'm way more than 4 decades, so you're fine. So trust me, you're fine.
The biggest thing is the Motorcycle Safety Foundation has the classes, and the cool thing about it is they give you a motorcycle to start on.
Okay.
And their basic rider course, you basically start with dog paddling the motorcycle. You don't even start it. Like you have some classroom time to talk about controls and all that stuff, and then they set you on the bike and go over that stuff in person, and then you dog paddle around and you feel what the brake feels like and how the motorcycle handles and all that stuff. So start with the class.
Well, that's awesome. I didn't even realize that was an option.
It's probably the best option. Looking back, I just took the test in Washington. You could take the test, and even this is kind of embarrassing, but I was 1 point away from failing the test. And I've been on a motorcycle.
A pass is a pass.
Right? A win's a win. I'll take it. But it's kind of embarrassing because, I had been on a motorcycle for, 12 years at that point. And kind of highlights the fact that, nobody knows it all.
Yeah.
And start with the basic rider course. Start with that dog paddling the motorcycle. And let's be honest, motorcycles are inherently unstable. 2 wheels does not stand up on its own.
Anybody who's ridden a bike knows that. Just a regular bicycle. Yeah.
And
there's no training wheels on a motorcycle.
There can be.
Well, I've seen the ones with 3.
I don't recommend it, but motorcycles fall over. And the cool thing about the Motorcycle Safety Foundation is you can have their motorcycle fall over instead of yours. So you can get that out of the way and just realize that you can pick them back up and you can go on with your day. And then Motorcycle Foundation actually has intermediate and advanced rider courses too. So you can carry on your training, become good at what you want to become good at.
Do you still go off-road? Do you still go dirt biking?
Are you
past that part of your life?
I want to.
Uh-huh.
Like part of me wants to go do that stuff. My bones say no. My bones say that I am, in fact, mortal and I can break. So.
Well, I would just think, not even just break, just this.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, as you get older, this is not as much fun. Like going 4-bying in a truck.
Yeah.
Like we'll go down even just a road that's got too many potholes on it. And I've gotten to a point where I'm like, seriously, we're in the truck and we're doing this.
Yep.
And I can remember when I was much younger, like high school age, we would go out in trucks, out into the dunes and, and go 4-bying in trucks. And that was really cool. Now it's like, oh my gosh, my bones just hurt being on a potholed road. So I know, I totally get that. You're much more of an adventurous person on that end than I am. So
I don't know. Sometimes the wife just drags me along on adventures, and I'm smart enough to say yes. Not smart enough to plan it, but
sometimes the best adventures are not planned. I'm actually a bit surprised if my husband doesn't pipe in on that one too. But we are notorious for, I'll say, hey, I found a really good deal to go to, and then fill in the blank. So London, Paris, Barcelona, wherever.
Awesome.
I found an awesome deal. Let's go to this place, right? And it'll be a year out. So it'll be for next summer. And then I'll completely forget that we ever did it. And then it'll get closer and closer and closer to the trip. And I'm like, oh, I really should look up some stuff. And then we'll almost to the point of getting there. I'm like, oh man, I really should try to figure this out. Or I really should I don't know, book the hotel or I am notorious for that. So some of the best adventures are not necessarily planned.
yeah, you have a rough outline.
Yes, I have a basic idea of where we're going.
Yep,
Sort
perfect.
of.
Perfect.
Sort of.
I'm with you. That it's kind of the joke in some of the motorcycle people I travel with is, Nate, have you packed your bags yet? We're leaving tomorrow. Like, no.
Yeah, same.
In my head, I know what I'm taking.
Yep.
So don't freak out, guys. But yeah.
So when you travel on your bike, do you just go until you feel like this is a good place to stop and book a place and just stay there, or do you kind of have an idea of I'm going from this spot to this spot? What's your traveling philosophy? Because I've done it both ways. So
when it's just me, I'll wing a lot of it, and that may drive some people nuts in my life.
She might pipe in too. So
But yeah, you guys don't have phone in here, do you?
No.
Okay.
Just messaging in.
But yeah, I plan more the more people are around me, because some people are planners. Some people have their bags packed 2 weeks before a trip. But it used to be pre-online reservations. It used to be you could go to a state park and you have a reasonable expectation that you're going to have a camping site, especially if you're a motorcycle with a tent. Those days are starting to vanish. So
How much stuff can you carry with you?
everything I can fit in there.
Wow.
I
So you
use-
can actually carry like camping supplies and
Yes.
everything? Wow.
Life does not happen without a cup of coffee in the morning. So there's a mocha pot, and there's something to boil the water with, and there's air mattresses, and
Wow.
yes,
All on your bike.
all on. It looks like the Beverly Hillbillies,
Wow.
but without
That's
the
got to
rocking
be quite
chair.
a sight, but yeah.
So
I can remember when we go camping, it like almost fills up the back of the truck. So wow.
it feels like that. You can take everything you need.
Impressive.
Yeah, you don't exactly get what you want on there, but you get exactly what you need on there.
You know, I have this philosophy, and it's served me very well, is because I'm not a huge planner for traveling. My philosophy is there's always Walmart. So whatever I've forgotten, there's always Walmart. And then in Europe, they have Primark. There's always Primark. There's always something. There's always some place you can get the thing that you forgot or the thing that broke. It doesn't have to ruin your vacation
Yep.
because, it's colder than you expected it to be, and you didn't pack sweatshirts. I can go buy a cheap sweatshirt, and if necessary, I can donate it or I can throw it away. It doesn't even need to come home with me. I'm good. Like we went to Alaska, and I stupidly figured it would be cold. Because we think of Alaska, it's cold.
Glaciers.
It's cold. How can it not be cold? You're surrounded by ice. It's Alaska. You're closer to the Arctic Circle. This was my thought process, right? And so I packed more cold weather clothes, so like sweaters and sweatshirts and things like that. And we get up there, and it's like 90 degrees, and I'm just like, it's just pouring off. And I'm like, okay, we're going to Walmart. I went to Walmart and bought some T-shirts. We're good. I'm like, $5 T-shirt. I really don't care if it's, only makes it this one trip. It's totally okay.
Yep.
But there's always Walmart.
There's only a couple spots where I felt that wasn't relevant. One of them was Death Valley.
Okay, been there.
I felt like you could become a funny smell in the desert for a couple days and
Oh
nobody
gosh.
would notice.
Oh gosh, yes. Oh gosh, yes.
The other one is up in the Yukon.
Oh, okay.
It's fairly remote up there, and I think the whole province has like 30-something thousand people in it, in something the size of a couple states down here. So there were spots up there. Yes, there is a Canadian Tire up there, so you can get camping supplies, but there are spots where you're, like, I probably shouldn't stop here. So.
One of the reasons we moved to this area was that it was very centrally located. We can drive to so many different things. I mean, you can drive to Philadelphia. Last week we drove to Pittsburgh for a conference, and we did a bunch of touristy kinds of things while we were there as well. But you can drive to Chicago, you can drive to New York, you can drive to Gatlinburg, or I mean, seriously, we're just kind of centrally located right here to be able to go anywhere, and which is what we really liked about it. Because in California, we'd already done the things that you can reasonably drive to, like weekendy type of trips or long weekendy trips. So, like pretty much the entire state of California, because most people don't realize that California is so large that to go from the bottom to the actual top of California is going to take you days to do it, especially if you're stopped to actually look at something. Because it can take you, driving straight through it, it'll take you pretty much an entire day to drive from like San Diego all the way up to the
And let's be
Oregon
honest,
border.
if you're on I-5, you're not going to see anything but
No.
traffic.
No, you're going to see traffic
So-
and a lot of fields. A lot of fields. It's just field. So it's not a lot to look at. So if you want to take the scenic route, it's going to take you longer.
Yep.
But we'd already done California and Arizona, Nevada, Utah, Colorado. So kind of the southwest, New Mexico, the southwest area. And so in looking at different parts of the United States, what we liked about Southern Ohio is we really could come here and then go and explore other areas that we haven't spent a lot of time in, that we've been through but haven't really explored. So
Right.
so I can imagine just hopping on a bike. I mean, we just get in our car and just basically drive it. So I would think it'd be very similar.
Same concept, different mode of transportation. In my office, I have a U.S. map on the wall, and I have all the states I've been to checked off. If you look at the states I'm still missing, Ohio is pretty much in the middle of that.
Wow.
I'm not saying that's why I moved here, but it
Yeah.
could be one of the reasons.
But it is. I mean, because we're so centrally located. I mean, you can drive to Canada. I mean, that's not out of the realm of possibility. It's only 5 hours, maybe 6.
Depending on how fast you want to go.
Yeah, maybe like 5 or 6 hours. That's a whole other story we can have between California and Ohio. But
Pace.
but I mean, you can go to so many different places, and so that's kind of our hope. And just in the year that we've been here, we've done Virginia, West Virginia, and like I said, we just were in Pittsburgh. And it was kind of nice because it really was just a 3-day weekend. We can just drive, explore Pittsburgh a little bit, and then come back,
Very
or
cool.
explore Richmond and then come back or whatever.
Very cool.
So, but yeah, no, I don't know if you noticed this coming from Washington to here. I don't know because I can't remember the speed limits in Washington. But the speed limit here on the highway being like 60 miles an hour, and it's actually 60 miles an hour, like you do not want to go over 60 miles an hour. Yeah, 60 miles an hour is like nothing in California
Right.
at all. I mean, it's like seriously. Like everybody, like the bicyclists are going to pass you if you're going 60 miles an hour in California. I've never driven so slowly in my entire life. And it was so funny. My husband has never had a speeding ticket. Entire life. Actually,
Did he catch one in Ohio?
Never had a ticket, period. He has never had a ticket, period. Not even a parking ticket.
Wow.
And they pegged him for going I think he was going 10 miles over the speed limit. I think he was going 70 and a 60. And he wasn't even in his Mustang. He was in my Bronco. I'm like, oh my gosh. So yeah, he was a little salty about that. But I keep telling him, you cannot drive the Mustang like you want to drive your Mustang because, you go 100 miles an hour here and I'm going to have to go pick you up at the county jail.
Tell them to slow down.
Yeah.
Great scenery around here.
We do. We do have a lot of fun. We get in the Mustang on a weekend and we just go out on some of the smaller roads and try to find our way. GPS is a lifesaver because I honestly don't know how anybody did it prior to having GPS. I mean, I know that we used to have the Thomas Guide maps to everything.
A paper map?
Yeah.
They still work.
I know that. And I remember, we would drive, to multiple states. I'm like, okay, you need to go here, you need to go here. And I'm trying to follow the map. But GPS, I'm we have seen so much, a different side of the country than we ever saw off of a paper map because,
Yes.
I don't like paying tolls. I'm it's I have a philosophical aversion to paying tolls.
I already paid for the road once. I shouldn't have.
And so my phone is defaulted to no tolls. So a lot of times it will send us through these back roads and stuff, and he'll look at me seriously, how much was the toll? But you see parts of the country that you wouldn't see, and same thing when we've traveled outside of the U.S. we've ended up kind of on these kind of back road types of things
for you.
because of GPS. I mean, there's no way, traveling prior to GPS, there's no way we would have ever seen them, nor would we have ever. Like if somebody said, go down the road to the mailbox, and then you turn right, and then you look for the dog that only has 3 legs, go past that, and then you look. No, we would never have followed somebody's directions like that.
Right.
But if GPS tells you to go down and then turn right and turn left, of course I'm going to follow it because, how is it going to steer me wrong? Although it has multiple times. But.
Yes, it's been known to do that.
Yeah, we have a joke in our family that Siri's trying to kill me, and because we go down these like little dark roads and stuff. But eventually we get there because I'm here right now. So
My GPS is set to twisty roads, and I forget what it is, but it's an adventure motorcycle thing. And sometimes I will lead the wife or a group of motorcyclists, and at the end of the ride, where are you taking us? Where are we going? Well, follow the GPS, it knows. So it will always get me back to a gas station or a town or a pizza joint. So I fought not getting a GPS for quite a few years until I realized that it would allow me to get lost and then find my way back out.
100%. It's like breadcrumbs.
So
It's like digital breadcrumbs. At least I can find my way back
I enjoy it now.
without having to knock on a stranger's door. Say,
Yeah, which
where exactly am I?
I kind of miss that. But, okay, where am I? And how do I get back to civilization?
But I have a feeling that if you knock on somebody's door now versus if we'd knocked on it like 40 years ago, it's a different. I think people would be like kind of leery, like, why are you knocking on my door, and why don't you have a cell phone to look this up? Because I would kind of question that too, like, do you not have a phone? Seriously? But I still want to help people, but I would be like, why are you knocking? Versus 40 years ago, I mean, people just knocked on people's doors and said, hey, I'm out of gas. Can I use your phone?
Yep.
Well, at least some people did that. So not anybody I know, but some people did that. But so now you've got this business and you're restoring bikes.
Restoring, yep.
Do you just do restorations on vintage ones, or do people bring you more current ones? Or
I do a little bit of everything. I also work at a local shop here, JM Cycles. I help out there a couple days a week. I save the vintage stuff for home because I'm really set up for that, and that's my passion. I don't own motorcycles. I hold on to them as a curator for the next guy. Most of them will be here long after I'm gone, hopefully in better shape than I found them. But yeah, repair, tires, vintage stuff, modern stuff.
all brands?
Yeah, so
Are there any that you avoid? Or are there any that you get excited about? Like if you happen upon one, is there a the golden goose, when the one that you're looking for, that like, oh my gosh, I've been looking for that one to work on.
My dream bike I was able to purchase from a good friend, I don't know, 12 years ago or something. So that idol that I've been searching for is in my garage.
Okay.
So it's a 37 Harley. So after that one, most of them are the whim of the day for me. I get excited about British motorcycles and German and American. Most of the time, people peg me as a Harley guy because that's mostly what I have. Mm-hmm. And it's just that Americana growing up in the 80s and 90s when Harley just blew up, and there's waiting lists for those motorcycles and all that stuff. I enjoy that. I enjoy that history. So
of the 6 that you have, what do you have?
I have a 37 Harley W. The bike I ride the most is my touring bike. That's a 1984 Harley Davidson, and that thing's been all over the country and Canada and all that stuff. That's my pack mule. I call it my truck. Then I have a 85 Softail an 88 Softail, which is what I rode here today. Then I have an adventure bike, which if you know, there's a lot of gravel roads around here, and a lot of stuff to explore. And while I don't mind gravel on my Harley, it's much better on a bike that's designed for it.
Okay.
So I did take my touring bike to the Arctic Circle. So if anybody knows Ice Road Truckers, that's the Dalton Highway. It was 480 something mile day of gravel.
Wow.
Which was fun at 60 miles an hour or whatever it was. But that's so impressive. The 27 states. Yeah, it's been fun. I got more to do.
Yeah.
I think
23 to go.
I think we have a trip planned to Nova Scotia. We're
Okay.
going to ride up through Maine and then to Nova Scotia and do that stuff next summer with a good family friend. Go from there.
Have you done the Northeast, the Boston or the Massachusetts,
Have not.
New
I've flown
Hampshire,
out there.
Delaware, Maine?
Flown out there and driven out there. I haven't ridden yet. So
That's gotta be pretty, especially if you go during like the changing of the seasons and
Yes.
things like that. So
looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So we
That'd
should
be
be
amazing.
out that way. I think we're shooting for September
oh wow,
2026.
yeah, that should be really pretty.
So motorcycle season kind of starts tapering off by then, and then take some weeks off. Take 4 weeks or 5 weeks or do that stuff.
Awesome. Well, Pete Wilson is here to share the news with us. So thank you for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having me. This opportunity popped up. I can't pass this up.
No, this is very awesome, and we have the link to the business in your YouTube in our comments. So if anybody wants to get a hold of Nate, pick his brain about motorcycles and
Yeah.
vintage bikes, or if you've got a vintage bike that's rotting away in your barn,
Drag it out.
or your garage, and you want to, get it out there and get it restored, or, figure out what to do with it. Nate's your guy.
Yeah,
and
love to help.
we all have those kinds of things sitting in our barn. I don't have a motorcycle. I've got a 1930 Model A Ford in our barn.
Very cool.
That's on the restoration
Good for you.
list. It's on the list of things to tackle. But so I can only imagine that a lot of the barns around here have treasures like that.
This
kinda-
is motorcycle
just
country.
just kind of hanging out. So whether it's a truck like mine, or if you've got a bike and you're like, it was handed down to you like our truck was, and you're like, I just don't even know what to do with this. I don't know how to get started.
Call me. Love to help.
Reach out to Nate, and he's your motorcycle guy. So,
I've even worked on Model A's.
I will keep that one in mind. We gotta finish the house first, but then the truck is next on the list.
Good.
Because his plan is to it to be another weekend vehicle that he can just kind of putter around or come into town on. We're not going to go on a long distance trip in a Model A truck, but
Never say
I
never.
told you about the potholed roads on the truck that we have right now. I just can't even imagine on the Model A that does not have
They were designed for it.
the shocks and springs.
They were designed for it.
Yeah, but my body wasn't. The truck might be, but my body wasn't. So, I like the creature comforts. I like air conditioning and power windows and.
All the good stuff.
But it'll be fun to drive into town, or even maybe up to Chillicothe. Parades. That would be a very good use for it, or photo prop. But the goal is to restore it at some point. So.
I love that old stuff.
Yeah. Right now it's just being kept in the barn. So. And who knows, once we start getting in the barn, we may actually have a two-wheeled thing in there. Who knows what's in there anymore.
Keep me in mind.
I will. So, but thank you for joining me
All
today.
right.
This has been fun. You'll have to come back and share your adventures with us after
I can do that.
After you get out there and get people out on the road and seeing what's around them. I mean, you got to be present and see the beauty that's around us, and
It's gorgeous here.
and the odd and beautiful things to see along the road, whether it's like the world's largest acorn in Oak Hill, or it's an amazing like pass through a forest or something like that.
Yep.
I mean, you just have to be present to what's around you. So,
Yep.
and I'm not a motorcycle person. I I can't imagine that that's going to be me. I rode a moped in high school, and that's about as much as I think I was willing to do. But because once again, I like my creature comforts. But I can only imagine that it would be the most immersive way to experience what is around you. Because like you said, you've got the sights, you've got the sounds, and you are actually part of the environment as opposed to completely surrounded. So
You probably know as well that the slower you travel, the more you see.
oh yes, 100%. And I'm trying to learn that.
We all are.
So we're going to have a couple words from our sponsors. Right, Adrian? Yep, Adrian's on it. And then we'll be back in a minute with Pete Wilson with the news.
From breaking news to heartwarming stories, the Telegram is your ticket to the latest buzz in town.
Read your daily dose of local headlines, sports, and entertainment and more in hand and on paper.
Get a print and digital subscription for only $7.95 per month. Delivered fresh every Wednesday and Saturday.
Visit thetelegramnews.com or call 740-286-3023 today.
Don't just read the news, be a part of it.
Saturday, August 16th is Southern Rock Woodstock in the Gallipolis Fairgrounds. This event will feature 3 decades of original artists and legends, such as Leonard Skinner, 38 Special, and Molly Hatchet. In light of this event, Total Media will be giving away 4 VIP tickets. For a chance to win these exclusive passes, comment your favorite Southern Rock song, and our staff will vote on which one is the best. Good luck, and may the best man rock out.
Did you know Jackson is home to a locally owned and operated full-service print shop? Zip Printing covers all your print, signage, and design needs. From business cards, booklets, and posters to yard signs, banners, screen-printed t-shirts, oversized signage, and more. We can help you or your business advertise and look good doing it. Zip Printing also offers logo design. Allow us to assist you in building or elevating your brand today. Zip Printing is located in the Stockmeister Plaza at 708 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio. So stop in or give us a call at 740-286-3023.
And we are back with Pete Wilson with all of the news from the very exciting long weekend. There's fireworks going off every day from Thursday to Saturday, right?
Right.
Third to the 5th.
There were activities starting on Thursday and even some on Sunday into the tail end of the weekend, as our local communities in Jackson and Vinton counties found a lot of different hometown ways to celebrate the 4th of July. A lot of traditional activities repeated that's become part of what is expected on an annual basis, but a few new wrinkles thrown in there as well. The Telegram crew, along with other total media personnel, were out doing a lot of work this weekend. We're going to share kind of like a sampling of some of the things we covered, Cheryl, and then we'll have a lot of photos planned, at least for our Wednesday edition. So if you were out of town or you crawled under a rock and you didn't take part in all this fun, you'll have a chance to maybe see some of the scenes. I will say, generally, trying to wrap it up, summarize it, I'm not sure I can remember very many 4th of Julys, or so many, I better not say all of them. I can't remember very many where the weather, has not been adverse, either way too hot or rainy or windy or whatever. Yeah, it was a little hot, but it wasn't sweltering, especially
it's actually a really nice weekend.
Especially as you got to the evening. I didn't think the humidity was too bad. Mm-hmm. If you were out in the sun, yeah, it was warm, but there were places to find some shade and so forth. And like I say, the amazing thing, 4 days without a drop of rain, because that'll scare some people away or keep them away, because obviously it's an optional activity. But I guess with all that happened, because we had celebrations in Jackson, Wellston, Oak Hill, MacArthur, and Wilkesville. Five different local celebrations. They all do their own thing. And I want to say this at the top before we get into showing some of our video and pictures. These are all hometown local people that put this on, and local sponsors that make it happen. It just doesn't fall out of the sky. There isn't Coca-Cola or some big oil company coming in to make all this happen financially. It's a lot of people working behind the scenes in the weeks heading up into the 4th of July working during the 4th of July, maybe sacrificing their family time to do this for everybody. We all say that, but we should never take it for granted. I think a simple thank you to some of those people,
yeah.
and local people know who they are. They should just say their thanks. They appreciate it. Just don't say something to a neighbor or post something on Facebook. Say it to their face. That would be more than payment enough, I'm sure, for most of them.
Well, and be grateful to these organizations that put it on so that it's not coming from your tax dollars.
No, it's not.
Their tax dollars are staying within the community, but that's not how they're being spent. I saw a lot of criticism over the weekend of the city shouldn't pay for that. Well, the city isn't paying for that. It's all coming from private donations going to these charitable organizations that are dedicated to putting on these shows.
Right, that's absolutely true. I think if it's in a town or whatever, that the town is certainly an enabler because, and I'm not saying they don't do things to help it make it happen. Of course they do, but as far as the financial end, it is all private and a lot of smaller donations. I'm sure that add up.
And it's expensive. I mean, you don't
Fireworks
realize.
are expensive.
Yeah, you don't realize how expensive it is. But I mean, it ends up being it's like $1,000 a minute for a show. And so when people say, "Oh, the show should have been longer," or things like that, I mean, it's very costly to do it. And so I think we should be extremely thankful that we don't have just one event going on. I mean, you literally could go to an event every day for 5 days. I mean, that's just crazy. It's almost like having a whole nother fair season.
Well,
just for 4th of July.
The cost we chronicled that in some of our preview stories. The cost was anywhere from $11,000 to $15,500 if we're about a 20-minute show. So you can kind of do the math and see, like you say, exactly how expensive it is. But we're going to start off. I guess if there's one highlight we need to start off with, it is probably the climax of the Wellston fireworks celebration, which was one of the very last things, of course, on Saturday night in the one-day celebration of our nation that the Ahilco Society does. They had a $15,500 fireworks display. That kind of topped the money list for expenses as far as for a certain fireworks display. But for the second year in a row, they ended their fireworks display with what they called fireballs. And a lot of people, that they did this last year, a lot of people didn't know what they were. Even if they were watching, they were thinking that something bad had gone on, something had exploded somewhere, some major explosion. No, it was the fireworks. But Adrian, if you could roll our video here. Jeremiah Shaver covered this event for us. He was there a good part of the day, and he was the one who recorded the end of the Wellston fireworks. Roll it, Adrian.
Wow, that was crazy.
That was in Wellston. We also, of course, had fireworks in Jackson, Oak Hill, and MacArthur as well. Let's switch to, we're going to do chronological and try to show you just a few scenes at all our celebrations. And these photos will run in the Telegram and more besides. Okay, we'll go to Oak Hill. Oak Hill's celebration was by the Oak Hill Athletic Boosters. It happened on Thursday and Friday. And Adrian's going to show us some photos from Oak Hill, and then we'll try to fill in the holes of what's happened. That's the famous Archie the Acorn. They got the world's largest acorn in Oak Hill, but they also have maybe the most famous acorn mascot for a sports team. Archie the Acorn with thrilling some of the kids before the parade.
How fun!
Yes, he is. He just came along. Now, these guys right here, they really need a big salute. First of all, on the right, that's Tammy McCain. She is the president of the Oak Hill Athletic Boosters, and she is a get-it-done girl in Oak Hill. Those other two guys right there on the left is Kevin Crabtree. In the middle is Link Stiltner. They are behind the scenes in that Oak Hill Boosters famous fish booth where they do concessions, mainly fish and veal. They do fresh cut fries too. They do the hot, dirty work behind the scenes.
Literally.
Their hands have Link's got the flour all over his hands, and Kevin's standing over that hot deep fryer. So we definitely wanted to give them some credit. And on the front lines, this is so neat they do this. The Boosters 4th of July celebration in Oak Hill supports Oak Hill athletics, and that's all the way through the all the way through the lineup from youth recreation through high school.
Okay.
But they have the sports teams, coaches, and players do the selling in the booth. So, they're actually participating in their own fundraising. It's great marketing, of course. And, they learn, that there is a connection between the uniforms that they get and the extras they get and the private fundraising that has to supplement what the school can put into an athletic budget.
Oh, yeah.
So those gentlemen are either with the golf or baseball team or both. They all have shifts during that 2-day 4th of July celebration. All right, we'll go to Jackson now. The Jackson celebration was mainly on Thursday, July the 3rd. Everything wrapped up into one evening, a parade, a fireworks, and lots of activities at Manpower Park. This was one of the units in the parade. I think it was also in the parade at Wellston, and this is a constant unit in a lot of the area parades. As a matter of fact, Phil Lightfoot, who is from Logan or the Logan area in Hocking County, this is called the Hocking County Fallen Heroes Float. You see its names there on the side of that float there, and that is the names of all the men and women from Hocking County who were killed in service to their country since World War I. And there, as you can see, there's a lot of them. It is it's a vivid reminder of the importance of military service and the sacrifices, obviously, that some families make. And that gentleman, Phil Lightfoot, he makes it a mission of his to go around to as many parades as possible. I thought this was cute. This was a young couple who were in Manpower Park. They had their dog dressed up he's dressed up like Superman in a flag with a flag there on his back. The young lady you can't see, but she has a flag shirt on. The young gentleman's got some stars and stripes on his vest, and he's of course holding an American flag. And you saw scenes of this through all four towns that had the celebrations. They were flashing their patriotism. This was just one example of that. And I'm always a sucker when there's a cute puppy or cat dressed up for whatever reason, whether it's 4th of July or Halloween or whatever. And that is the Cub Scouts who led the Jackson Parade. That's Pack 48 Cub Scouts and Troop 48 Boy Scouts and their adult leaders. I believe that's Andy Harris, the tall kid in the back. Actually, he's not a kid anymore. He is the scoutmaster of that group. So congratulations to them. They are always in all the parades. And that is a scene from the Jackson fireworks that Jeremiah took. He did video while I did some still pictures, but he did this still picture for us. And I think it's neat because, it shows, an adult with a young child on his shoulders watching the Jackson fireworks. And that is Americana at its best there. All right, well, let's go now to MacArthur, if we could. Vinton County Boosters is what we're talking about. This is the Vinton County High School Band under the direction of Avery Bamfield, who was performing at the 3-day Boosters event. The Vinton County Athletic Boosters, much like the Oak Hill Athletic Boosters, use this as a fundraiser. Their event was 3 days, actually, started on Friday and ended on Sunday. And this is neat right here. They had an alumni football game, And the gentleman on the left graduated in 1976. I don't know how much football he played because he would be pushing late 60s. But that's Keith Beadle Ward, and the reason he's wearing number 60 is number 60 was the number of his good buddy Marvin Kenneke, who died back in the 70s from a football-related injury.
Oh, wow.
They named the old stadium. They don't play there anymore because they have a new school, but it's still called Marvin Kenneke Field. And every chance he gets, he honors the memory of his fallen friend and football player Marvin Kenneke. That's Beadle Ward, and he's talking to a new graduate of Vinton County High School who played football, Owen Heyer. That was at the alumni football game that I believe was on Saturday night, or actually Friday night. I'm sorry. And here are just some symbols of America that were in the Vinton County Parade. Of course, you see the eagle, you see Uncle Sam, and you see Lady Liberty as well. They made quite a scene there in the parade that was on Friday evening. And here are the Eagles Lodge of MacArthur, FOE of MacArthur. People helping people is their motto. The reason that we're showing their picture is they were named as the group grand marshal of the parade, and obviously they did that because they support the 4th of July celebration, which, of course, counts on donations and sponsors and like that. And they also are good community folks. So there you are. If you have, Adrian, if you have the royalty pictures, Miss and Little Miss, we'll show those. There is our Little Miss contestants, or actually our royalty. They were picked on Sunday afternoon. That was one of the last things that happened. So congratulations to them. We'll have a story and a picture about them. And then on Saturday, this is always one of the big events. They've been doing this for 65 years in Vinton County. This is the Miss Vinton County contest. And there are those young ladies right there, the queen in the middle. She's called Miss Vinton County, a first and second attendant flanking her. So, congratulations to all those young ladies. Congratulations to Corey Harper, who's the president of the Boosters. He also coordinates these contests that they have as well. He does it through the Wild Turkey Festival as well. And quickly, we'll go to Wellston as we hit the 10 o'clock hour, but we want to show you some of the things here. They do a hometown hero. So neat. Only the second year that they do this. The Ohilco Society is who does this. Ohilco Society president on the right is Aaron Dupree. And the man on the left, we know him very well, John Stabler. He is the commander of the American Legion Post 371 in Wellston. Along with the VFW, the American Legion Post helps the Ohilco Society pick a hometown hero. The hometown hero this year is John Waters. Unfortunately, due to health problems, he was unable to attend the presentation and actually get it himself. But he was the honoree. He has a distinguished military background and has been a major contributor to the military organizations in Wellston, and that was why he was picked. When it was introduced, Aaron Dupree said that he's a guy who shies away and shuns recognition and attention. And those are sometimes the people who do the most.
Oh, definitely.
All right, go ahead, Adrian. What else you got? Okay, this is Mr. Waters. We got this off his Facebook page. We just wanted to show you the man. That is him with his wife. That is John, of course. There on the left, got his veteran hat on, Vietnam veteran hat. Very, very proud veteran, and he has served the veterans organizations as he served his country after his military service was done. And this is a scene from the parade. Of course, you have the Legion folks out front. You have the Revolutionary War soldier, looks like, leading with the flag. You've got the Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts right behind. Just what you would expect to lead a 4th of July parade. And all this in Wellston was on Saturday night. And of course, it all ended with that fireworks display. Is that it, Adrian? And here's another fireworks shot from Wellston, still photo of you can see, actually, I think this was a fireball. You can see it at the bottom of the of the stream right there. You can see, if you see that live, it's so impressive. If you're nearby and you see it live along with the sound.
Making me wish that I had been in Wellston on Saturday night.
Right,
I'm going to have to add that one to my calendar.
You
for
would have
next
been
year,
very
hopefully.
busy if you were. And I think we have some Wilkesville, do we not? Okay, Wilkesville parade. Gosh, I think there's 100 people in Wilkesville, or maybe 110. I don't want to short them. But they have one of the best 4th of July parades you'll ever see. And these are two people who are stalwarts, pillars of that parade. On the right is Constance White. She organizes it and she announces the parade. Her family goes way back before the Civil War, I'm told. And the man in the flag shirt is David Stifler Jr. And we all know Lee Greenwood, who sings God
Yes.
Bless the USA. He does that locally as well as other songs. And I tell you what, it is amazing when you hear him sing that. He is a great singer, and he does that number. I mean, it puts chills down your spine if you have any appreciation for the words at all and being an American. So we definitely wanted to recognize those two right there. They are main highlights of the Wilkesville Parade. And that is a young lady. I don't have her name in front of me, but she was so cute holding that American flag. Red Thompson Jr. was there in Wilkesville and caught that picture. Good eye on his part to catch that picture. And of course, here is, I believe this is Legion Post 476 of Wilkesville leading that parade. That Legion Post, like the Legion Post in Wellston, is very active in the community. They actually are outside of Wilkesville, but they are called the Wilkesville American Legion Post. It is 476. And of course, this is Uncle Sam, who was on the float of the First Presbyterian Church of Wellston. That was also at Wilkesville. I can't tell whether that's John Pelletier or not, but it kind of looks like him, but we can't tell because of the hat. If not, John knew that the church float was there, and that church float won one of the prizes. They do awards for the best decorations in that parade, and so it's just a grand day in Wilkesville. All right, there you go. So thank you, Adrian. You did a good job shuffling those pictures. And Cheryl, I want to thank you for stepping in for Jennifer. We will get back to, in follow-up days, regular news. I'm going to be away for just several days, but I know Jeremiah and Red Thompson are going to step in. And I think you, as you always do, you plan some other things to make sure that we'll have a great show.
And
in the coming days.
And even remember, even if we don't have Pete here to share the news with us, you can pick up your telegram on Wednesday with all the news, or you can follow us on Facebook and check out our website, thetelegramnews.com. And it has all of the stories, the ones that Pete shares with us here, as well as others that don't make the cut for the morning show.
Right, and on the Facebook page, some of the things that go in the newspaper aren't there yet, but there are hints there for sure. Some of the videos we did and some of the Facebook posts. And I'll tell you what, it's work, to go out and cover these things when a lot of people don't have to work, but you really get an appreciation for all the work that goes into it. And the 4th of July, it's not a religious holiday, it's a patriotic holiday. And so it's all about fun. It's all about fun.
Yes.
Like Thanksgiving is about thanks and eating.
Yes. Fun, family,
one of my favorite holidays.
Friends, food, and fireworks.
Right, and
5 Fs.
And my gosh, 249 years this year.
What is it going to be like next year? I'm sure you remember in 1976.
I sure do.
For the bicentennial.
I sure do.
It was a huge deal, so I can only imagine what 250 is.
I was just out of high school then, and I still remember everything that they did. And I think with the celebration for the 250th, it's going to be very special as well. And I think they'll start celebrating early.
Oh, I think so.
Local, state, and national.
I think so too. I think come this fall, I think we're going to start seeing things for the 250 dropping.
Absolutely.
100%. So, well, thank you for joining us, and we will be back here tomorrow with the Jackson High School bass fishing team with an update from their historic trip to the international competition in Oklahoma.
That was something.
Yeah, they have some great stories to share, and so they will be on the show tomorrow with Liv. So join us tomorrow morning, and we'll see you then.